come check out our D&D 5e actual play podcast, Super Quest Saga, the show where Will, Brian, your special guest Jake, and friend of the show Josh Freeland sit around the table and play some Dungeons & Dragons in space. It's Will's homebrew sci-fi space opera campaign. Find it on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, or anywhere you get your podcasts.
Super Quest Saga!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian.
I'm Will.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons & Dragons, from swinging scimitars to sorcerous spices, and today we're talking about Cyclops and Ettins.
The Dungeoncast. Hey Brian.
William.
Happy New Year, Brian.
Happy New Year. And with the new year comes many new things.
Including
so it has been reported to me.
Yes.
Year of.
So
we completed the Year of the Dragon.
We did.
We get a little Xbox medallion. Screen
I know,
pops
a little
down.
achievement. So with the end of Year of the Dragon, and that coming to an end, I would like to announce a new year in the Dungeoncast Zodiac. I hereby christen the year of 2020 as Year of the Giant.
It's a big year, everybody.
Yeah, it's a big year. Also known as Year of the Big Guy. So we're going to be talking about Frost Giants, Stone Giants, Storm Giants, or Stone Giants, Storm Giants, Giant Kin, probably the Giant Pantheon. There's enough Giant episodes to fill a year. So we'll be doing one of those a month.
Yeah, in our Giants overview episode, and we're like, we're going to talk about all these Giants.
Yes.
Well, here
One
you
day.
go. One day has come.
Here it is.
Here's like the Beholder's weird cousin.
Yeah, Beholder Kin. We're going to have to get into them one day too. So starting this year, we're starting with Cyclopes, which is plural for Cyclops, and Ettin. So let's start with Cyclopes, or Cyclopses. Cyclopses.
This is dark magic, where you cut off the head of a troll and put a beholder on the body.
No, not at all. So in Dungeons & Dragons, Cyclops, or Cyclopes for plural, is a member of the giant family. Though not a true giant, it does fall under the giant type, and is considered to be giant kin. These guys stand about 12 feet tall, are humanoid, and are noted for their brutish nature, reclusive lifestyle, and their prominent singular eye centered upon their forehead.
Nice.
The D&D Cyclops is pretty much directly based off of the Greek mythological creature of the same name.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Cyclops of Greek mythology is a pretty interesting creature due to the fact that there's really lack of an agreed upon continuity in the folklore of the ancient Greeks.
Okay, between different writers.
Exactly. So there's essentially two versions of the Cyclops that differ widely in both nature and origin. You have the Hesiodic Cyclopes and the Homeric Cyclopes. The Hesiodic Cyclopes were written about by the ancient Greek poet Hesiod. This version of Cyclopes were considered to be children of the Titans, and they were noted to be very intelligent and capable craftsmen, responsible for many creations of wonder, including the original thunderbolts that were given to Zeus before Hephaestus learned to craft them, the trident of Poseidon, the invisibility cap of Hades, and the Cyclopean walls, Mycenae, Tyrannus, and Argos.
Nice.
So
okay.
They're like what dwarves are in normal fantasy, where they're just master craftsmen.
They're master craftsmen, but they're fucking huge.
But they're huge and they have one eye.
Yeah, I remember the one from the Odyssey for sure. Which are you?
Yeah,
about to
that's
talk about
the
that?
Homeric one, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the Hesiodic ones, these Cyclopes assisted Zeus in his overthrowing of the Titans in exchange for freeing them from their imprisonment by their father Uranus. After the war, the Cyclopes went on to work at the smiths of Olympus under the god Hephaestus.
Okay.
So in a way, they kept making those thunderbolts because maybe Hephaestus couldn't do it by himself. I'm not sure.
It's all stolen knowledge.
It's all stolen knowledge. So the Homeric Cyclopes are the version that are most commonly known and depicted in contemporary media. Like you said, that's the one that you remember, the one from the Odyssey.
Yeah, I watched that movie in English class, and there was a very weird way to shoot anything.
Oh yeah,
the way they had to shoot. I picture just like a normal sized guy on like a very tiny island.
Yes,
or like a model or whatever.
Right.
I don't know what they did, what kind of film nonsense they did to make that look the way it did.
Perspective stuff,
a lot of close ups on the big eye.
Exactly. So this version of the creature was written about originally by the legendary ancient Greek writer Homer. Homer's version of the Cyclops is depicted in the Odyssey as the children of Poseidon. Beings who dwell in the world of men rather than the world of the gods. This version of the Cyclops is depicted as an uncivilized, barbaric giant that dwells in caves and far-off lands.
Cool.
They know no laws and have little in the way of skills such as agriculture or crafting. They are shepherds who live off milk, cheese, and the meat of sheep, and they are hostile to trespassers upon their land.
So first we have this like smart version of it.
Right.
And then we have like a very
the
dumbed
dumb
down,
version,
like D&D basic
right.
monster.
And speaking of which, the D&D version of the Cyclops is pretty much a dead ringer for the Homeric Cyclops of Greek legend. So
Okay.
the dumb one.
That makes it easier to like want to kill it, I guess.
It's stupid, so it doesn't deserve to live.
I don't know. Like why am I like
they are hostile, so it's easy to fight something that attacks you first.
It's more like a monster than I know. There's all this rhetoric storyline going on between people, or I guess discourse between people talking about like a monster being evil or a monster being a people, like orcs and stuff. How they have like a society,
right,
and like pass down knowledge to their kin and stuff like that. It seems like that's the gray area.
Yeah, I would say that the Cyclops in Dungeons & Dragons are definitely a people. I think I got the stat block here. Yeah, they're chaotic neutral.
Yeah, like the game is definitely geared toward like, you got to murder stuff.
Right. I mean, yeah, you have all these weapons and spells. You need to kill something.
So much conflict is battle based.
Right.
They have an entire book dedicated to it.
In history, people fight. People fight all the time.
Mm-hmm. Why not fight monsters? That's the line. We don't have to kill people all the time. We can kill like these obvious things that's okay to kill.
Yeah, except for when like this, it's not necessarily clear if they're people or monsters.
I guess so.
All right. So even though the Cyclops from D&D are based off of Homer's The Odyssey, I find the idea of a Cyclops more like Hesiod's tales to be a lot more interesting. So I would definitely urge people to explore that space because that sounds like fun too.
Yeah, have some depth with your monster because it will create conflict with certain types of like alignment players that are good. They maybe don't want to kill this.
I also think it's a really cool idea of like, yeah, everyone in world knows Cyclops as these barbaric creatures, but then you actually come across them and like, no, they're like super intelligent, well-organized, civilized, like craftsmen.
I had to kill him because he tried to hit me with a fucking lightning bolt that he made in his garage.
But that lightning bolt was master crafted.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so the Cyclops of Dungeons & Dragons is described as a 12-foot tall humanoid weighing in at roughly 1,200 pounds, which is fucking big. That guy, that's so big.
He's a big guy.
They are one of the smallest of giant kind and are only above ogres, trolls, and ettins when it comes to the hierarchy of the ordning. I don't know if you remember the ordning.
I do remember the ordning.
It's a strict hierarchy.
Are we not including the Goliath? They kind of exist somewhat outside the ordning.
So Goliaths and Furbolgs kind of at this point, they're outside the ordning. They're so low, it doesn't matter.
Because if the Furbolgs, they have their own
They
ordning.
reject the ordning.
Yeah, but they have their own, right? They have their own code.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I thought we talked about that during the episode where they rejected it, but they have their own code of living, which is
they have their own code of law.
It's like the ordning. It's like the anti-ordning.
I mean, it is lawful.
It's like a constituted version of it.
The ordning is a hierarchy, while the code of law that the Furbolgs live by is just like a strict code of conduct.
Okay.
Less of a hierarchy. But so these guys are really low on the ordning, only above ogres, trolls, and ettins. Though physically, a Cyclops is noted to be roughly as strong as the average stone giant. Now, this is definitely...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's them definitely punching quite literally and figuratively above their weight class.
Yeah, so it's size-based, usually.
Usually, but these guys are quite a bit smaller than stone giants, but roughly as strong. That's pretty impressive.
Okay.
Their skin color is said to be that of earthy tones to better blend in with their environment, and though some are noted to have hair, most are bald and have a rather cone-shaped skull.
I wonder if all the hair on like a Cyclops is just like where people try to comb over their bald spots.
Yeah,
just kind of like wispy up on the sides.
Yeah, sure.
Ooh.
Oh, dang. My camera.
There's a new setup. I bumped into it.
It's so good. But yeah, they're cone heads. These Cyclops are cone heads. The most defining characteristic of a Cyclops is, of course, its large singular eye centered in the creature's forehead. As hermetic creatures living in the wilds, at most, Cyclopes are dressed in basic skins and loincloths, and not too uncommonly, many are without clothing entirely.
Oh, cool. The 12-foot naked dude
with
one eye
and
a cone head. Can you imagine like going to like the hot springs at the side of a mountain?
Yeah.
And like, oh, what's that floating egg doing out there? And then it turns around and its eye opens.
It's just one eye.
And
That's
then
horrifying.
And then a big naked guy tries to beat you up.
Who trespasses upon my hot spring? Yeah, I like that. That's funny.
No.
So as I said before, the D&D Cyclops is pretty much lifted from Homer's The Odyssey. They are simplistic and reclusive giants eking out a meager existence in the wilds far from civilization. They are extremely isolationalists by nature, and will attempt to drive out, kill, or enslave other beings who enter their territory.
Right on.
Right. Being poor hunters, most Cyclopes practice the keeping of herd animals for sustenance.
Oh, that's kind of cool. See, here we go. This is the gray area I'm talking about. They love animals.
I don't know if they love animals so much as they need animals.
That's totally tracks that they have like a cave with like penned cows or something.
Yeah. I think sheep is the classic, but yeah, why not cows?
Sheep, cows, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
Some hippogriffs.
Sure. So most Cyclopes live either alone or in small family groups, usually layering in caves, ruins, or structures of rough stone that they've built themselves. A Cyclops lair is always within a day's travel of other Cyclopes lairs in order to trade goods and seek out mates. So
A day's travel like one way? Do they stay the night, or is
I
it
think
like
it's
half
one way.
a day?
It sounds like one way.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, they would have to stay the night.
Cool.
Which is, good for them. So, though capable of
An Airbnb string.
Yeah,
Cyclopean
basically.
nudist colony is just a string of Airbnbs.
Oh, yeah, I love that idea. That's a great idea. Though capable of understanding giant, they write nothing and speak very little, mostly communicating in grunts and gestures to communicate. I believe a Cyclops intelligence level is about an 8, which is pretty high for just using grunts and gestures, but whatever. Like, I'm not going to judge them.
I mean, sometimes I get what I want by just grunting and gesturing.
Okay.
It's fine.
So though they hardly compare to the master crafting Cyclopes of Hesiodic writings, D&D Cyclopes are capable of rudimentary crafting skills such as making tools and weapons from stone and wood, and some are even said to learn the basics of metalcraft.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they're not, entirely like, what's the word I'm looking for?
They're not without technology.
They're not completely without technology.
Yeah,
They're
one of them's
just
got
very
like a
basic,
big shitty knife.
Yeah, this is my big shitty knife.
It's like the size of you.
Right. So despite claiming to be of direct descent of Anem, the allfather of the giants, rather than one of Athea's many unfaithful trysts, we talked about Athea in the Giants episode. She's
Yeah.
the wife of Anem. She's always cheating on him.
It's
and making
way
other,
back there,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah.
But she's always making other not true giants because she's always cheating on Anem.
And isn't everybody mad about it all the time?
Anem's really mad about it all the time.
But
I think.
the other giants don't.
I don't think they care.
They're just like,
whatever.
welcome to the ordning, bro.
Indeed. Yeah, you're way down there, but welcome.
Hey, these ones are all naked all the time.
But
Bottom of the ordning.
Regardless of all this, Cyclopes are generally quite irreligious. They pay little heed to any gods, even the ones of the giant pantheon. They fail to see the benefit of prayer and find most religious rituals too complex for their tastes.
I don't know. We prayed once.
Just not into
Nothing
it,
happened.
bro. Yeah. So essentially, Cyclopes are they have to see it to believe it. And most gods ignore them, so they see very little.
So that kind of implies that other giants are like very much like God worshipping or like very into prayer.
The ordning is very important to the true giants.
I know the stone giants were up to some are always up to some spiritual shit because they think like they walk outside and they're on an acid trip or whatever.
Right. Yes, I
like
forgot
going
about
outside
that.
is my drug.
Daywalking, I think they call it, or something like that.
That daywalk over there, he's addicted. Put him in the giant rehab.
Or dream walking. It might be dream walking. They think the
Dreamwalking.
surface is a dream.
Right.
It makes no sense.
Yeah,
But
and
we're
they-
going to cover
they-
that in Stone Giant episode.
They can just go up there and be like, do whatever they want. Yeah.
Right. So like I said, they're very see it to believe it, but the gods ignore them, so they don't see very much. But on the other hand, in the scenario where a Cyclops either benefits from some religious power or source directly, or is threatened by some supernatural force/being, they will undoubtedly pay homage to that being and or force, and recognizing it as a god, whether that being is divine or not, doesn't matter. Like, you do magic, you must be a god kind of deal.
Okay.
Now, this homage and respect only lasts as long as the benefit and or threat continues to be ongoing. Once this ends, the Cyclops will undoubtedly return to its atheistic ways.
Okay.
So again, see it to believe it. They stop seeing it, stop believing it.
That guy came in and cast magic missile and he became Mistra to me.
Right, exactly.
And that's it.
So,
Then he went away and I moved on.
right. So,
Weird.
though not the absolutely dumbest of creatures, Cyclopes are notably unwise. This, paired with their lack of exposure to other beings, cultures, and most importantly, magics, makes them easy targets for being tricked or hoaxed. They're easily cowed and awed by obvious displays of magic. All it takes is a little prestidigitation, and they're like, whoa.
You make a little fire in your head. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's the reaction every time.
Yeah, pretty much. Thus, a spellcaster can easily convince a group of Cyclopes that they are a god walking upon the world, as the elements obey their commands, or illusions portray reality-altering powers, or they can heal wounds with a word. Still, there's great risk in a spellcaster trying to pull off this ruse, because a Cyclops discovers it was tricked will fly into an unstoppable rage and seek out vengeance against its offender.
Oh,
So,
shit.
yeah.
It gets advantage on dex saving
It
throws.
does. It's so fucking mad. So a few fun facts about Cyclopes before we get into their stats. In order to protect their herds from wild predators, Cyclopes are noted to shepherd their flocks into their caves at night and then seal the entryway with a giant boulder.
Yeah, just exactly like Homer's Odyssey. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
do
that
they
happens.
do that? Yeah.
Don't they get thrown in? Doesn't Odysseus and his like remaining crew
Get thrown into
get
a cave?
thrown into a cave with like penned animals?
I don't even remember.
And then the dude covers. I'm thinking about the old movie
Yeah,
that I watched in high
I
school.
don't know.
It's
Yeah.
a little while ago now.
I didn't
the
watch
movie was
that
old when
movie, so I don't know.
The movie was old when I watched it.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But
All
yeah,
right.
he definitely sealed the cave with a boulder, and they had like go out the top or something, like in Moana.
That seems very vaguely familiar when you just said that right now.
Is
So
that
I'm gonna
right?
go with yes.
It's been a while.
So secondly, due to their only having one eye, Cyclopes have notoriously poor depth perception, making them terrible with ranged attacks of all kinds. This, along with their enormous size and lack of intelligence, is why Cyclopes make such poor hunters and have to farm animals in the first place.
Minus proficiency in perception.
Yeah, indeed. Finally, Forgotten Realms does have a very odd version of evil Underdark Cyclopes that are far more intelligent than the surface-dwelling ones. These Cyclopes serve dark masters such as Drow, Duergar, or Illithids as slaves, though some live independently. Furthermore, Underdark Cyclopes are noted to be far better craftsmen, capable of working with both mithril and adamantine, and even magic capable with or even some Cyclopes that are magic capable of becoming like full-blown wizards.
These are so much scarier.
Yeah, way scarier. Like, whoa, where were these guys? And I couldn't find any 5e stats because they're like, even though Forgotten Realms is supposed to be the default setting, the 5e monster manual has a stupid Cyclops only. So
Yeah, well, Skag just has like these little offshoot paragraphs that are like, use these stats for like use high elf stats for these elves, but we have these elves too.
right, but I don't think Skag had like a bestiary, so it should have. It really should have, but it didn't.
It doesn't have. I haven't leafed through it like the way I should have yet, but
Right.
it doesn't have I can't believe it doesn't have stats for something like that.
Yeah, so like I said, as far as I know, 5e hasn't presented either a stat block or even a lore entry for these types of Cyclopes, but is what it is. Any questions about Cyclopses or Cyclopes before we take a look at their stat block?
These Underdark Cyclopes are like they're regular Cyclops that huffed a bunch of flump gas, and now they're evil Underdark.
Sure, we'll go with that.
I don't have any questions.
All right, cool. So let's look at the stat block. We have Cyclops, a huge giant, chaotic neutral, armor class 14. That is natural armor. Their skin is quite tough.
They're naked skin.
Yeah, they're naked skin. 138 HP, speed of 30 feet. With giants, I always feel like it should be further than 30 feet.
Because they have big strides.
Yeah, big strides. It should be 50 feet, 60 feet. Outrunning a Cyclops should be very difficult.
You're right. You're right about that.
Yeah, that's just my opinion, though. Yeah.
I'm going to call it a 40 feet.
They weren't fucking around with the strength. They got a strength of 22. Holy shit. Plus 6.
It's got to, because it lifts a giant boulder to cover its cave house every single day.
True. Dex of 11, Constitution of 20, Intelligence of an 8, Wisdom of a 6. My God. Charisma of a 10. So unwise. Let me see. Yeah, so they're a really basic monster. They have one feature. It's called poor depth perception.
A negative feature?
It is.
That's
it
really
is.
funny. Okay.
The Cyclops has disadvantage on any attack roll against a target more than 30 feet away. So yeah, they throw boulders. They're just not very good at it.
Maybe that's why they don't move quickly, is because they can't like they can't understand
That's
the
true.
terrain in front of them.
That's true. Don't move too fast, Ben. You'll fall over.
I could run very fast. That's a sick homebrew. It's like 30 feet slash like a very unstable like 60 feet.
I like
We have
that.
to roll
That's
on
a
a
good
chart to
idea.
see if they like stub their toe
I
or
like
like
that. I
trip
like
on
that a lot.
the terrain.
Great idea.
Okay.
And for their actions, they just get a great club attack, which is a +9 to hit, reach of 10 feet, one target, 3d8 plus 6 bludgeoning damage, and they can make 2 of those in a turn.
Okay.
And then they have the rock. It's just called rock. Ranged weapon attack +9 to hit, 30 to 120 feet, but that's a disadvantage. One target, 4d10 plus 6 bludgeoning damage, so you don't want to get hit by that rock. My God.
Is a Cyclops something creature that would like set up a contingency for invaders, like a
Maybe.
tripwire or something.
I could see that. The more organized ones, they might have like a booby trap for if trespassers approach. I could see that for
Maybe
sure.
their animal like shepherding is limited to like parrots and macaws, and they like one of them just like they're here.
Sure. Though I don't
like
know,
shoots a line
I don't
of
know how much
conversation.
meat a macaw could provide to a giant.
It's so many, dude. He's just like, he's got a bunch that he trained and a bunch that he just like eats.
Sure. Absolutely.
No, I don't know. You could have more than one animal going on, something
it's
like
true.
that.
They could have macaws and sheep.
I was wondering because like one that your party stumbles upon, this is like not a fight you don't want to go in unprepared for.
Right.
Probably. That sounds like a really beefy, strong stat block
Yeah,
for a
what did I
monster.
say? A challenge rating of 6, so pretty beefy. And you're probably going to fight, well, you might just fight one, but you might fight 3, and that's a really big fight.
This is great for like this actually makes me want to use a hide action, like going into Cyclopean Forest and like having to retreat and fight a guerrilla warfare style combat in the trees. That would be a great strategy against the Cyclops. I was just thinking like this is the only monster that's made me really like feel comfortable with wanting to do that.
That's interesting.
Like,
I wonder why.
Like a Hydra, you know, like I'm going into the Hydra's lair. Like everybody knows it's there. You just don't go there because it's a fucking Hydra.
Right. Okay.
Like lots of monsters don't make me want to like run and hide. Like this one
But
would
this
with
one-
its
this
22
one would-
strength and its
yeah.
giant 10-foot reach of boulder stuff. Like I'm going to want a
I
ranger
wonder
and
if
try
you're
to
going to feel
blind
the
it.
same way about all the giants we talk about. Oh, that sounds scary. I would rather hide.
Honestly, maybe.
Hey, we'll find out, but
Like
after a short rest.
With dragons, it's like hard to, you can't like hide from
yeah,
dragons.
it's true. There's no running.
Their perception
Like,
is insane. It's
they're
like plus
hyper
5.
intelligent. They can fly.
Yeah,
they got magic.
You're gonna beat it out with the dragon. With the giant, maybe you have a chance at like being
That's
sneaky.
true. All right, let's take a short rest.
Yeah, let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome to the part of the show. We're not talking about that last thing. We're talking about how much we love you. Will's going to tell you how much he loves you.
All the much.
Now I'm going to tell you how much I love you. A whole bunch. Jesus. Oh my God, so much. Here's some people that came to Patreon. Welcome to the team, everyone. Abigail Lamb.
Thank you, Abigail.
Some D&D channel.
Thank you, some D&D channel.
Very ambiguous. Icaro.
Thank you, Icaro.
And Eve Vocative.
Thank you, Eve Vocative.
Yeah, thank you, Eve. And thanks to everybody that's on Patreon. I just updated the OST playlist. It includes all of the music from the last arc that we just did in Super Quest Saga. It includes the new acoustic themes for Flashbang and the Surgeon. And I'm probably going to throw some sound bites on there that I did later, like some cool like airlock doors opening sound effects I had
nice.
a chance to work on. You can join Patreon and get a bunch of cool bonus stuff. There's more stuff that we always have in the pipeline coming in there on the way. We've thought of some cool ideas. The last one we thought about was if you want to email the show on Patreon, we will read your message on the show, like at the end during our long rest segment. We had that at the $10 and up, but we're going to open that up to everybody. I think we were a little hesitant to do that at first because we didn't want to get overwhelmed right off the bat, but I think we should be okay. And if anything, we'll get to your message eventually, but we have a couple to read today that we're going to save for the end. You can also get, there's a bunch of cool exclusive merch in our Patreon, depending on what tier you get into. And you can always listen to these episodes ad free, like a week or two early whenever I usually finish them the night we record.
Yeah,
It's
usually.
like every 2 weeks. So sometimes I don't. And that's just how it goes.
And that's just life.
That's just life. We do our best here at the Dungeoncast. And you guys on Patreon make a lot of stuff possible for us, like equipment upgrades and maintaining our like cost of running the show, which is not anywhere near zero. But yeah, like we're doing really cool stuff these days. Our camera equipment, our microphones, they've all been upgraded, and it's all thanks to you guys. So yeah, I think we're going to get back to the show.
Let's get back to the show. Ready?
We've returned.
Indeed we have. And it's time to talk about the next
Big
giant
guy.
thing. Next big guy. Or big guys, really.
Big guys.
Because Ettins have 2 heads.
Oh.
And we'll get into it. All right. So unlike Cyclopes, Ettins are a D&D original. So there's no mythology that they're based off of. They were introduced in first edition, and essentially they are two-headed giants with a very orcish looking visage, or visages, because there's two faces. They are at the very bottom of the ordning hierarchy outside of ogres and trolls. They are infamous for being foul, crude, stupid, and smelly.
Okay.
All right, let's get into it.
So they just suck.
They suck, yeah.
And there's two of them.
They're pretty gross. We're gonna talk about it. So
this is a dungeon mastering advanced Cyclops where you have two heads that can talk to each other. It's like when you have to do Demogorgon. I never have to shout out my own. Shout out to Demogorgon.
Right.
Shout out to Demogorgon.
Yeah. So these guys stand roughly 13 feet in height, which is 1 foot higher than the Cyclops, but whatever.
Ordning, man.
Ordning, but they're below the Cyclops in the ordning.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
There's more
I
of
guess
it,
they're less strong, even if they're more lanky and tall.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's just my guess here. So they're still roughly the same height as the Cyclops. In a lot of ways, Ettin look like miniature hill giants with two heads, but for two major differences. The first difference is the two faces of an Ettin will have a lot of orc-like characteristics, such as like an underbite of tusks,
Okay.
a piggish-looking nose. They also have slightly pointed ears like that of an orc.
Huh.
The second deviation is the foulness of their hygiene. And this is saying something because hill giants themselves are pretty gross. Like, they're not hygienic. Ettins are on another level, though, because Ettins never bathe unless somehow they're forced to. Their skin, which is normally like a natural pinkish or tannish hue, is often perceived as much darker due to the fact that your average Ettin is caked in a thick layer of dirt, mud, and grime. To put it in perspective, picture every aspect of having a human body and all the grooming that goes into just living, and imagine that none of that ever happened at any point ever. That's an Ettin.
Tasty.
Indeed. To make matters worse, the combination of lack of intelligence paired with their extreme lack of self-care means that the animal skins an Ettin wears are never cured, and thus they're always in a state of rot.
Are you for real?
Until they fall off.
Oh.
As one would imagine, it's not unrealistic to smell an Ettin coming before you see it coming.
He's just like, I don't get it. Why does my jacket keep falling off? It only lasts for like a week, and then I got to kill another deer.
It's true. That's exactly how it is.
Oh.
Yeah, they're very gross. So most Ettins are cave dwellers who eke out an existence in remote and rocky badlands. Their lairs tend to be as filthy as they are and are known to be home to festering diseases and parasites.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. If you
They're
are dirty,
gross. Their house is gross.
Your house is gross.
Yeah.
And you got critters.
Indeed.
Lots of
You got critters.
Oh, that'd be a great way. You're less likely to accidentally sneak up on an Ettin because you'll see all of the fucking like rats and stuff.
Yeah, things start getting really gross the closer you get. There you go.
Like they're probably dragging corpses up there and not like cleaning up after themselves. There's like trails of blood around and all that.
There you go.
Good.
Yeah. So though an Ettin is a singular creature, it is essentially two people who share a single body. Each head is an independent individual of its own, with its own mind, personality, name, and quirks, I should say. No one has a single quirk. We all have many quirks. When other creatures are referring to an Ettin, it compounds their two names into one super name. So if one head is named Grog and the other head is named Knack, together they would be Grognak.
A super name.
A super name.
You just slap those two bad boys together.
Yep, there you
All
go.
right.
Two names in one. So being bound from birth, neither head experiences very much, if any, privacy or solitude. This has a tendency to breed contempt between the two heads, and it's not uncommon to find an Ettin arguing and or bullying itself.
Okay.
It pretty much happens constantly.
So there's a dominant head and a not dominant head?
So yeah, I guess usually the right head is the dominant head.
Okay.
Because I guess
like hands?
Like hands, I guess, yeah. So like I even read that like some Ettins their right side will be a little bit buffer than their left side.
Oh wow, because that one cares more about push-ups.
I guess so.
Okay.
So do with that what you will. It reminds me, have you ever seen Lady in the Water with the guy who only works out one side of his body?
Yeah.
I guess that's what an Ettin's like.
I forgot why he did that.
I think it was an experiment of some sort.
Why did they make Lady in the Water again?
I like that movie, but moving on.
It got so weird.
It's a very strange movie.
Weird.
It did get weird. Still, an Ettin's head must learn to work, or an Ettin's heads must learn to work together, not only because they have to share the same body, but because each head has hemi-control of said body. So each head controls the arm and leg on their side of the body. So coordinated teamwork is of the utmost essence.
This is like a dungeon master's treasure trove of like monster roleplay.
It's true. It's
wow.
true. Yeah, you can get crazy with this.
Okay.
So as much as an Ettin doesn't get along with itself, it gets along with others even worse. Ettins have a reputation of being violent and aggressive brutes to pretty much all strangers they come across. They consider anything smaller than them to be food and won't hesitate to beat said creature into a bloody pulp via a giant club or by simply like grabbing them or repeatedly flailing them against the rocks.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they're just violent and mean.
Like Brawly.
Yes, like Broly does the
Grab
Goku.
your leg and smack you over and over again.
Exactly. So as a general rule, Ettins live solitarily or as solitarily as they can.
Yeah.
They can't even stand the company of other Ettins, and such meetings usually end with foreheads screaming insults at each other. Which is hilarious.
It doesn't come to blows. They just yell at each other and walk away.
Strangely enough, it's very rare for Ettins to get violent with each other. They just don't. They're more likely to simply avoid each other.
There's a moral understanding between all of them that they all have the struggle of dealing with their strong head, weak head like mentalities.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one gets us but us. So we can't kill each other.
I hate me. There's like a lot of like self-hate. So I hate me and I hate other things like me and we hate each other, but like we don't want to not exist.
Right.
Okay, sure.
So there are only two circumstances in which Ettins can be found together. The first being if a very large, powerful, and ambitious Ettin decides to bully a bunch of other Ettins into subservience and form a gang of Ettins to terrorize the countryside.
Okay.
That's one scenario. But these alliances don't last very long because they only last as long as the leader Ettin doesn't lose a fight. The second he loses a fight, it's all over. Everyone goes their separate ways.
Yeah, just like boats.
Just like boats?
You just got to fight the captain. And if you win, you're the captain.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
And then anything can happen.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The second scenario is if they are a mating pair. So let's talk about how Ettins mate because, that's something that we need to talk about.
Yeah, it is.
So in the world of Ettins, females are the dominant gender. They initiate the mating ritual, and though I couldn't find any concrete sources saying it, I would imagine they are likely larger and stronger than their male counterparts. Mm-hmm. When a female Ettin is preparing to mate, she first locates and prepares a suitable den. Once this is done, she sets out and hunts down a suitable male. By hunt, I do mean hunt. She literally will track down, ambush, fight, and conquer the male of her choice.
Okay.
She then drags the male Ettin back to her den.
That means there's resistance. He's like, no!
No, not like this.
Not again.
So she then drags the male Ettin back to her den and forces him to serve and wait on her until her 7-month pregnancy is complete.
Okay.
At this point, the male Ettin will finally leave, and he's like, thank God I'm out of here. Female Ettin will then raise her child for 1 year before finally forcing them out on their own. At this point, though, the child Ettin should be nearing adulthood. They grow up really quickly.
Okay, cool.
Which, that's got to be insane growing pains because you're going from, I don't know how small, to 13 feet tall.
It's just his natural course of growth.
Yeah, but that is the Ettin circle of life. Any questions?
Ettin circle of life. Beat up your lover.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, no. Yeah, so these are horrible, like, cesspools.
Yeah, these are gross
nasty,
monsters.
Gross monsters.
They're nasty, bad creatures.
Okay.
The origin of the Ettin is a bit of mystery, like, in-game. So, like, some say they are the mutant offspring of hill giants.
That was, like, what I was going for. It was like, this is like a mutant giant.
Others say that they're a deviant form of, like, a giant orc. Others postulate that Ettins may, in fact, be a crossbreed between hill giants and orcs.
Okay.
Maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know.
Orcs get pretty big, right?
I think like a big orc is like 8.5 feet tall. Like that's a really big orc, but yeah, they can get that size. 5e, the monster manual proposes a much different origin though. Legends tell of a group of orcs who stumbled upon a temple of Demogorgon.
Shout out to Demogorgon.
Shout out to Demogorgon. The magic of which transformed them into giant mockeries of the two-headed prince of demons. Regardless of their origin, orcs treat Ettins as if they are distant cousins, and other giants hardly acknowledge Ettins at all. So, in a way, they're kind of more related to orcs than giants, socially speaking.
Okay, I like the Demogorgon cult.
Of course you did.
That's pretty cool.
I'm sure you did. So, some orcs are known...
I'm sure a lot of people did, damn it.
I'm sure a lot of people did. So some orcs, in fact, are known to bribe Ettins into joining their hordes to serve as like muscle or bodyguards.
Okay.
An Ettin will only do so if provided with like copious amounts of food and loot, though, because like they don't give a shit about orcs. Orcs are just tiny little meat bags to them.
Yeah, but food is like easy to provide for something like an Ettin. Sounds like.
Yeah, I would say so. Like
eat whatever. You can give them your rotting meat and they'll probably eat it.
Yeah, that's very true. Also, Ettins are really big. Like 13 feet is big, but it's not like actually giant big. So like they might eat 3 or 4 times as much as a orc. But like a hill giant would eat like 10 to 12 times as much as an orc. So
Okay.
like it's much more in the realm of possibility to feed this giant monster.
You have 2 heads, not 2 stomachs.
Exactly.
Nice.
So having multiple heads is not just a drawback, fighting amongst itself, but in fact it has a few benefits for the Ettin. So for one, it's exceptionally difficult to sneak up on an Ettin as only one head sleeps at a time and thus the Ettin will always be aware. Now this is a double benefit in a way because not only are they always aware, but this is the only time any Ettin head gets any form of privacy whatsoever. It's when the other one's asleep. So it's probably like, thank God, like I don't have to deal with
like we're not arguing. Like they sleep that way, and so there's only a few hours a day where they're actually awake arguing with each other.
Exactly.
All right.
So another odd benefit of having multiple heads is an innate resistance to magic or effects that target the mind or the senses. So illusion spells, psychic attacks, the effects like blindness and charm have 2 heads to effect instead of just one, essentially giving it an advantage against any and all of these things.
Oh.
Because you have to succeed against both. Because
against like mental stuff. Like,
when it comes
like
down to it,
save.
one head can assume control of the whole body if the other one's down.
I was just going to ask you, like, if one of them's asleep half the day and the other one's asleep the other half of the day, like, how are they? Is he just like gimping around on one leg? But
I would imagine like when one sleeps, they sit still. Because like it would suck to be asleep and the body's moving around. You know what I mean? Can you imagine? Like,
no,
that would suck.
I actually did picture it like that because they're just like some rando monster. Like this is its anatomy. So like,
I mean, I think in a pinch it could do that, but I think like the sleeping head would much prefer to be in a dark cave, not moving. And the other one,
yeah.
And I think the other one would want that too when it sleeps. So like,
well, yeah, because one's gonna sleep during the day and one's gonna sleep at night. I don't know. Like, is that how it works?
I guess so.
Do they sleep 8 hours?
It's not explicitly said, but you could do it however you want because you're the dungeon master.
Maybe they only need to do 4 and 4. Like they only have to split the load of like, no, because you have 2 brains and you need to rest. Your sleep is for your brain and your body, but it's for your brain.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's getting hairy in there.
It is. It's getting strange. All right. So, they essentially have advantage against all those different effects. 2 heads really can be better than 1. If an Ettin ever loses a head, or one of the heads is irreparably damaged, it cannot grow its head back, but it can carry on living fairly normally as a single head, will assume full control of the body. Other Ettins, though, will shun this one-headed Ettin, viewing them as a walking abomination.
Freak!
Yeah, freak.
Like you lose one of your heads in like a boulder accident, it gets crushed.
Yeah.
It's just like a deflated balloon kind of dribbling off of you right
and
there.
you're considered an abomination from then on.
Gotta cut it off and cauterize the wound.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
No.
So, that's gross.
This is bad.
So any questions about the Ettin before we get into the stat block?
Let's get the stats.
All right, so we have Ettin, a large, giant, chaotic evil. Okay, so they're both supposed to be 12 feet tall, but why is the Cyclops considered to be huge and the Ettin is considered to be large?
Girth.
Okay,
you said it was skinny.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe it is. Girth it is. So, armor class 12, HP 85. This is a challenge rating 4 creature, by the way. So they have 2 different features. The first is called 2 heads. An Ettin has advantage on wisdom checks and on saving throws against being blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, stunned, or knocked unconscious. Again, because you have to hit 2 heads, not just one.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of actually having to target 2 heads, it just gives them advantage.
Okay.
The second is wakeful. When one of the Ettin's head is asleep, its other head is awake. Okay, moving on. Actions. It only gets 2, Battle Axe and Morning Star. Where the fuck did this thing get a Morning Star? I know it didn't make it.
It stole it from an orc.
Yeah, but a Morning Star the size that an Ettin would use? I mean, maybe an orc would use that. Anyway.
Morning Stars are huge, aren't they? They're like
they're
super
really big
weapons, so it's just like a stick.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's not like a bigger Morning Star. It was just a Morning Star. Right?
I picture one appropriate for its size, but that's
where
fine.
would it find that?
Exactly.
That's where you get weird.
Exactly. That's why I got upset, but moving on. So the Battle Axe attack is just a +7 to hit. Only a reach of 5, so not like the Cyclops that can reach 10. 1 target, 2d8 +5 slashing damage. The Morning Star's the same +7 to hit, same 5-foot reach. 2d8 +5 piercing damage. So they're the same. They're the same attack. Just one does bludgeoning, one does slashing.
Okay.
So any questions about the Ettin? It's a pretty simple monster.
Yeah, like when it comes to combat, it's pretty straightforward here.
Honestly, you could reflavor that. Just take out the features. You could reflavor it to a light Cyclops. They're essentially the same monster.
Cyclops light, Diet Cyclops.
Diet Cyclops.
So you basically, this one's a little better against magic. combat wise, like saves, like wisdom.
Yeah,
and
this
stuff.
one is a bit more resistant to a lot of magic stuff. Yeah.
So, but the Cyclops is like super vulnerable to that because it's like, oh shit, you did a magic.
Exactly. That's
You
true.
God now.
You God now. I serve you now. So yeah, that's a weird dynamic.
Okay. No, like these are cool monsters for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I pictured them both like just in the woods or like up against the mountainside or whatever in a cave.
And considering like they're both like giant, dumb humanoids, extraordinarily different, very different, despite being so similar.
Right.
So yeah. All right. With that being said, I think we can get ready for a long rest.
Yeah, we should.
Before we go, I believe we have is it a question or just a message we have to read?
Oh yeah, for Patreon. We're reading messages at the end of the show. Yeah, let's lead with that. Let's definitely lead with that. I have our first message ever sent from Chemical, which is a member of our Discord.
Yes.
But it's on behalf of all the Discord mods.
Oh, okay, cool.
From all the mods on Discord, Happy New Year to the crew and all you listeners. Come hang out with the awesome Discord community. Stay safe these holidays and have fun. And like I said, it's from the mods.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
We do have another one. Should we save it for the next episode or should we do it on this one?
Let's do it next episode.
Okay, we'll do it next episode. So Rachel, you got your message in on time. Don't worry.
It's coming.
But it's going to happen next episode because we only got 2 to read right now.
Indeed.
We are opening that up to everybody on Patreon. So feel free. You can, if you're even somebody that supports us at the $1 level, you can totally do this.
Absolutely.
So yeah, check out Super Quest Saga, the game, the D&D 5e actual play podcast where we play Dungeons and Dragons
in space. Yeah.
In space. I'm super nervous about all Super Quest Saga stuff right now.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff happening over the next 3 episodes. That's
Yeah.
how Franklin and I go. It's going to be wild. These 3 episodes are going to be crazy.
We're getting to, do we want to call it like the actual halfway mark of the show?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
We're
like right around the halfway, especially story wise. We're halfway there.
We're both, literally halfway through the story.
We're living on a prayer.
Oh my gosh. All right. With that being said, let's call it a game. We will talk to you guys later.
Bye. Take my hand. I'll make it, I swear. Bye.
The Dungeoncast.